Hey there, saltwater anglers, and welcome to the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report. It's your local report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. This podcast is part of the Great Days Outdoors Network, and each week we're talking with local experts to learn ways we can become better anglers in our pursuits offshore, nearshore, and inshore. And to help keep this amazing fishery healthy and thriving for generations to come, let's remember to protect what we pursue. It's springtime, waters are warming up, and fish are on the move. So let's hear who's making this show possible and then find out what's been biting. Check it out. AFTCO has a gift for our listeners. They're now offering a camo sunglasses cleaner cloth with any purchase of AFTCO products. Whether I'm walking the dock or the deck, I love my AFTCO fishing boots. You cannot beat the comfort. And as temps warm up, the Samurai Sun Shirt will keep you cool and protected. To get your coupon code, just text LCBFR to 779-345-2918. You'll get subscribed to our email list, and we'll send you the promo code via email. Hey guys, before we jump into this week's segment, the first segment, I just want to put a little preface out there that this is a very special conversation to me for two reasons. One, I've known this guy for the better part of 15 years, but he more recently got married to his beautiful wife, Jordan. They got a baby boy named Walker, who I'm sure he's already teaching him how to throw a cast net. I don't even know if he can walk yet, but he's learning. But also, 15 plus years ago, he was there at the very beginning of when I learned how to even start fishing, from, catching carp with corn, to learning how to, get largemouth bass off of, when they were bedding, to, today doing everything from cobia fishing to offshore and in between. His friendship, his influence, his support has always been a really big part of my fishing journey. So I owe him a lot of credit for that. So without further ado, him and his buddy went on a really epic trip. I want to talk about it. So let's jump into the conversation.
All right, you guys, welcome to this week's show. I'm especially excited to talk to this guest because I have known this captain for a long time. In fact, when I first found out that fish existed and you could catch them with a rod and reel, is about the same time I met Captain Mike Manning. And right now he is on his way back from Florida with Owen, his good buddy, Captain Owen. And so I'm excited to dive into this. This is going to be a cool topic for a lot of folks that have maybe dreamed of this trip. But welcome to the show, guys. How's the road conditions right now?
Oh, it's not too bad. We're a little bumpy coming through Florida, but we're making it happen.
Heck yeah, man. Well, Owen, why don't you go first? Just tell us real quick what kind of boat you run when you're out on your own rig, and how long you've been fishing for.
So I've been fishing pretty much my entire life. Grew up fishing down in the Outer Banks on the beach, and then fishing up in Richmond on the James River. So I'm pretty universal. Currently running a 2006 Albemarle 280 Express Sport Fish, between Oregon Inlet and Virginia Beach. Not the typical boat you see on a trailer, but trailer every trailer it everywhere I go. Nice and easy, 13,000 pounds to go down the road.
Yeah, that kind of dovetails nicely into you, Mike. So, Mike, tell us how long you've been fishing and what kind of boat you run.
I've been fishing as long as I can remember. Dad retired from Norfolk Naval Base, so I grew up on the rocks there chasing puppy drum and trout. I'm now running a 2004 Sea Swirl Striper 2301 with 225 on it, nice big cobia tower.
Heck
And
yeah.
Owen's getting me into the offshore world, which is all brand new to me, as you know.
Little side
Yeah.
facts, my old boat.
Yeah, and I actually bought the boat from Owen. It was a strictly Oregon Inlet offshore boat for him as a 23-foot center console.
Wow, that's really cool. And I was going to say that boat has to feel a lot less daunting to trailer than that big Albemarle. But I just am curious, door to door, how many miles one way did you guys trailer that boat when you left Virginia and went to Florida?
Roughly one way about 1,100 miles, I want to say it is.
My gosh. So this is not the first time you guys have gone down there to fish. And that's kind of why I wanted to have you guys on, is because, there's a lot of logistics and planning that goes into doing a trip like this. And if you're like you guys and you've got, wives and young children, the logistics become even more complicated and the expenses can go up quickly. So talk us through the last time that you guys did this trip from Virginia, down to the Keys. And, just give us like a rundown of like what the logistics were and what the general cost was.
So the first trip was 3 years ago with myself, Owen, and two wives, and we just did plane tickets. So looked at like normal, got the plane tickets about $1,000, and decided to rent a boat. So we got down here, rented a boat. It was about 2 grand all in for the first trip. With we had to ship our odds and our tab down. Obviously, we could bring what we wanted because shipping was about $300 just for the rods. Um, Boat fuel, car rental, shipping, gift shipping, because we didn't have a giant truck and boat to haul whatever we want. We
Hmm.
paid roughly about $6,000 3 years ago for the trip.
Wow. And that also takes a leap of faith to want to ship all of your rods and reels plus tackle. I mean, and there's probably some stuff you wanted to take that you couldn't just because it didn't make sense to try to ship it.
100%. Yeah, we weren't bringing 3 electric reels and a kite rod with us that trip, but we're towing them
Yeah.
right now.
That's awesome. And then,
Yep.
in terms of like renting a boat, like, is that, you know, was that a fun experience because it was like ended up being a really great boat, or was it just like a just okay boat for the price?
I mean, I would say for the price, I would consider it just okay. Not to say that the boat wasn't great for what we're doing with it.
Right.
Um, with a rental boat, there's a lot more restriction in what you can do in the time frame and how far you can go out. Normally, it's like a 10-mile limit, either
Yeah.
way in the Gulf or the ocean side. So, a lot more restriction on what you can do, and they also don't want you out, before the sun comes up or after it goes down. So, not to say we did any night fishing this time, but just to have your own boat down there to feel a little bit more free. It was a good feeling. I mean, and also on a boat that how it operates and how it handles,
Yeah.
fishability of it goes up quite a bit.
Yeah, that was what was coming to my mind, Owen, is the fishability, the familiarity. You kind of know where everything is, your tackle stations, all that stuff. And then also just kind of like a safety factor where like, if you're taking your wife and your kid out, like you're always going to feel better on your own boat that you know and trust. You know who, did the electrical and who did the maintenance, because most of the time it's you. And it feels a little bit better than, just, a rental that, you hope is taken care of well, but there's no guarantees. And, in contrast to the fishing experience, if you had to put a rating, percentage wise or just, 0 out of 10 wise, if you graded the previous experience with the rental boat in contrast, comparing everything, logistics costs to taking your own boat this time, out of 10, how do the two trips compare?
I mean, I would say bringing your own boat, definitely 10 out of 10. Renting a boat, as long as you do a lot of research and kind of what I was basing it off of is I picked a boat that had the newest looking motor on it. so,
Right on.
I mean, the experience wasn't bad. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It really wasn't bad. But if you have big plans to go offshore, and experience, that while you're out of town, then your own boat's really the only way to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's roughly about a 20 to 25%, better experience to have your own boat. So there's a little bit of a, value there. And then in terms of like overall costs, Mike, I know you ran some numbers. You're really good at writing things down and keeping track of all the details. What was your all-in cost 3 years ago, renting and plane tickets and, wife versus now plane tickets for wife and kids, but then trailering your boat? What's the all in price difference?
I'd say we were about $300 more this trip, but price for gas has doubled. We now have 2 1-year-old children. And so all of their things that got to come with us that we would never be able to ship,
Right.
$300, easy day. I mean, no question asked, I would do this all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, had you flown again, you and Owen each, would have added another $600-700 in plane tickets, and that's
Yep.
going to put you over the edge. plus the added benefit of your freedom, your own boat, and all that stuff. So, any big lessons learned in terms of like your prep and planning? I know you guys did a fair amount of work to your trailer, which is obviously the most important thing on a big long trip. What was your prepping planning list before actually getting on the road?
I mean, honestly, Owen is the mechanic in this group. So he tore apart the trailer. He went through it step by step. We started with the boat with adding a trolling motor, which turned into a couple more issues, but made our way to the trailer. So I don't know how much you want to talk about which one, but
No, it is actually comical. I want to hear this because it's like every other boat or marine related project you start, you always find yourself at like the, 3 mile mark out of 26, marathon miles where you've just run into something and you're totally foobarred. And you're like, how did I not see around that corner? So tell us, what was
oh,
the foobar you ran into?
I'll start with the trolling motor. So basically, we started with wanting a trolling motor on the boat because, I mean, who doesn't? Uh,
Yeah.
my wife hates throwing the anchor, just like I'm sure everybody else does. So while I'm
Yep.
driving the boat in a crazy current, and I assumed the 7 mile bridge was going to be a little worse than our Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, and I was right. So we decided to buy the trolling motor. Picked up the 115 horsepower, the Minn Kota Tarova. Uh, we went to throw it, sorry, 115 horsepower, and threw it on there the 17 foot-pounds. Geez, threw it on
Yeah,
there the
there you go.
17 or 72. And yeah, there we go. And first time got it in the mail, picked it up from West Marine, ended up having the skeg snapped off the bottom of it, just a shipping issue. Uh,
Oh my.
went to return it. They said go ahead and buy another one and then return this one. So ordered the new one, ordered the C-swivel mount, and as well as the quick release mount because I assumed I needed it to get it off of my bow so people can sit up there.
Right.
Got the new trolling motor in and realized I had the wrong size C-swivel mount and quick release mount for my motor. So
Jeez.
a little heads up, there is a normal version and an XL version. Be careful of that.
Ah,
So bought two trolling motors, two Swift C-swivel mounts, and two quick release mounts. Ended up not needing the quick release or C-swivel mount at all for my boat. Worked just fine without it. Luckily, Owen has a welder buddy that we could pick up a sheet of metal from, and he made our own mount for the boat. Then the next issue came the handrail because I have nice big handrails in the front of my boat, like some people do.
uh-huh. Yep.
So we have children, and I'd really like not to keep those handrails there for the near future. So we ended up finding some hinges and some pin releases to make basically a custom bracket to pull the handrail up, get it out of the way so we could deploy the trolling motor and put it back.
So almost like a tuna door on a boat, but you turned the handrail into a door that you could open and close. That's genius. But then, okay, so now you got the trolling motor up on the front of the boat, and you have a cobia tower on your boat. So what was the next order of business where you realized, oh crap, we didn't see around that corner either?
Yeah. So yeah, so the cobia tower is way too tall to drive down the road, so it fully folds forward, and the shotgun rod holders on the back of the tower seat take two poles to sit on the front of the boat to rest on.
Right. Right.
The trolling motor was now in the way of one of those poles.
Oh gosh.
So in comes Owen with his welder, and a new rod holder gets added to the tower to take that second pole. So not too bad, but just something else to get around. And luckily, we started on all of this early enough to get through it.
Yeah. Smart.
But
That's very, very relevant to me right now. I've been down working on a dock all day doing some plumbing and electrical and I swear I made the joke to my buddy Dave. I said, I feel like we are consistently guessing about 60% of our actual time consumed on all boat related projects. We need to get better at giving ourselves a wider berth. I think there's a nugget of wisdom in there. It's like whatever you go to set out to do, like give yourself as much contingency time as possible, check the weather, all that stuff. And something I've been learning lately and you used to be in construction. I'm in construction now. And, it's like the planning phase and the preparatory phase are probably the most important part of actually getting in and doing work. And that is to like give yourself permission to like stop at every, juncture and just sit back a little bit and look and ask questions and go, are we thinking through everything? And I can tell you, there's just been so many times that would have saved me so much more time in the long run than had I just rushed through it.
Right. Yeah, we tried to get on it a little early. Owen was pushing me, and I honestly I got caught up in the having a kid, and I waited a little too long to get started, and those issues that piled up that kept popping up, like the rod holder and the hinge door and all that, it pushed us right up to the end. And then I'll let Owen talk about the trailer because that was a whole nother bag of worms there.
Yeah, what was going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, it was doing all the your general maintenance. And you're getting ready for your normal boating season, and then some. Doing the service to the boat, doing some add-ons, adding some extra equipment, and then with the trailer, I'm sure I've had my number of axle snaps and blowouts and bearings go bad. So that is we're currently driving still in Florida, so we have a long way to go. So
Right.
need to find some wood to knock on, but wanted to make sure we were going to minimize any trailer issues on the way. So what that meant is just stripping down all the bearings and checking everything, making sure the spindles were in good shape. Rebuilding all four hubs. Um, uh, Went and got four new tires. Made sure we had a couple spare tires with two spare rims. We even
Hmm.
bought a blank tire just in case. I have pry bars. I know how to mount a tire.
Of
With
course you do.
pry bars. So it's just in case it really went downhill. Had one more chance to make it without
Yeah.
spending too much money.
Yeah.
Um, Main issue that I found in it was unfortunately, unfortunately for Mike's case, had to replace an axle on the trailer. Just going to tear it apart and pulled the hub off, and the wear ring behind the hub came off in about three different pieces and had about 10 pounds of rust on where it sat, and
Wow.
a new one would not seat on it. It was just gone. And couldn't get the spindle off. This is a torsion trailer, so no leaf springs or anything. So you can technically replace the spindle, but just that torsion arm and everything was so rusted and far gone, as 90% of boat trailers do, that it wasn't even worth fighting it. Spend $1,000 and get a new axle, slap it on there, and put new hubs on it, call it a day. So it's a big investment to do it, but at the same time, and the way I justified it for Mike's wallet was he was going to have to do it anyway.
Right. Right. Might as well
So,
do it now and have it done yourself. There's definitely a lot to be said about doing things yourself and knowing it's done right.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, when we get back home, the trailer should definitely be run through. I mean, even while we were down there on Thursday, knowing that we were getting ready to have to make the drive home, I brought my jack with me, for the cases of emergency, but also while we were down there, I lifted the trailer up and shook down all the wheels, made sure there was not a lot of play. Found one that could have been adjusted, and made sure everything was re-greased and good to go, and nothing scary was going on. It's trying to reduce the amount of time you're sitting on the shoulder of the road.
Right.
And I mean, I'm a firm believer, if you have it and don't need it, that's a lot better than needing it and not having it. So
Oh, there's so much truth to that.
This podcast is brought to you by EMS and Indeck PVC decking. Hooks rust, lines tangle, the one that got away always does. Some things aren't meant to last. This isn't one of them. For coastal homeowners, marina and dock properties, and waterfront builders, Indeck delivers a premium finished surface without the constant upkeep. Indeck's capped cellular PVC dock and deck boards never rot, clean up easily with soap and water, and offer strong slip resistance in wet or dry conditions. Indeck, designed for what comes next. See the full line at pages.easternmetal.com/great days.
Yeah, well, Mike, it's a good thing that you had Owen and his very capable hands and knowledge to knock that out for you.
Oh, 100%. I would never leave home without somebody who's able to do all this. I'm the carpenter guy, so not much help on a trailer, but
Yeah, mechanical knowledge is a definite plus, and I might even call it a must to do a trip like this because my anxiety was going up. I had a buddy just taking a trailer to Charlotte the week before, and he had two blowouts just heading there. So, of course, that
Oh,
was making
geez.
my mind go a million miles an hour. Like, okay, when this happens to us, and that even includes like every time we stop for fuel before we do anything else, even filling up the truck, we go back to the trailer. We're feeling the hubs, making sure stuff isn't
Yep.
burning up. Because if it's hot in a gas station parking lot, I'd much rather deal with it there versus a shoulder of 95. So,
Oh yeah,
no offense to
100%.
anybody
100%.
driving in Florida, but yeah, people like to drive about 10 to 20 miles per hour over the speed limit down here.
Too
So,
too
my
fast,
preference
yeah.
is to stay on the shoulder. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I want to change gears into fishing. Mike, you and I have fished together a lot over the years. I would wager, at least 100 to 200 hours that we have spent together. And you've evolved as a fisherman. Going into some of the offshore games. So this was kind of like the next step to go into a totally different state and explore some species that you've never, caught here in Virginia. So I'm curious, what were you guys targeting when you went? And then what did you guys actually see and catch?
so obviously we wanted to get offshore for at least one day, and we got really lucky with the weather. We got here Saturday last week. It rained Sunday, and it was beautiful, less than 1 foot the rest of the week. So
Oh, it's awesome.
super lucky. Got the boat out almost every day. The goal was to hit the famous marathon humps. Obviously, it's only 30 miles to get out there, and it's great. So that was the goal for some tuna, mahi. Then we were going to give it a shot to try to drop for swordfish, and snowy grouper opened on May 1st. So that
Ooh.
was never seen a grouper in real life. So I went for
Snowy grouper, from what I've heard and what I've seen back in my days cutting fish at Sam Russ Seafood, snowy grouper is like top of the grouper food chain in terms of like taste.
Oh man, it was delicious. So obviously we were successful.
Heck
We
yeah.
ran out. Yeah, yeah. It helps to have a buddy who's also a local and captain or charter captain mate down here
Uh,
in the Keys to hop on your boat and go fishing for a day.
oh, that's
So
perfect.
yeah, we pulled that one off on Tuesday, and we rolled out. We hit the humps early in the morning. There was already people hooked up to tuna. I actually got my first jig fish. So I got to jig up some blackfin and some skipjack. Owen did the same. We caught probably 6 or 8 of those. And Josh said, "Hey guys, you want to try trolling through some of these schools?" And picked up some more blackfin skipjack and said, "Hey, you guys want to go give deep drop a try?" So why not? So rolled over. We hit a couple different spots with 2 different deep drop rigs. No luck, except for, I mean, Owen caught a ton of pretty monster rosies from what I've seen.
Those are the biggest black belly rosefish I've seen. I mean, I've caught hundreds out at Norfolk Canyon trying to tile fish. But I mean these were
16.
yeah. I mean these were almost like citation sea bass size.
Wow.
Yeah,
Those are big.
these are big. Yeah, enough to put your fist in their mouth if you needed to. It was.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was. There were some big ones. Obviously you get the little tiny ones. I mean, they all taste the same and are delicious. So it's good to have bycatch that is tasty.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
what's going on right now. Bill Pappas, playing hooky, and a few others are out there popping those golden tiles right now, but they're also getting a really nice catch of those black belly rosefish, but they're not nearly the size like you're talking about. So that's awesome to hear you guys got those. What else did you guys see while you were down there?
So I mean, it's interesting kind of seeing there wasn't a lot of wildlife that we saw. Normally when you're out of Virginia Beach, you see your whales, you know, dolphins, turtles, sharks, all that. Mainly it was a lot just chasing the birds around the Keys. There are other days, it's Captain Josh Riddle. He's from Chesapeake, grew up there and moved down to the Keys and
Oh
captained a
yeah, I
couple
know that
boats.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he knows you as well. Yeah, we talked about you on the boat. Yeah, he moved down to the Keys in 2020 and mates and stand-in captain's a 78-foot Viking down there. And we were lucky enough, to convince him to hop on a 23-foot center console and send it the same distance. So
That's awesome.
he isn't too spoiled with the life down there, but he had his numbers, having locals who have good numbers to go try, because
Yeah.
there's so many options. It comes in handy because we went out to the humps, caught a handful of tuna. My main goal was to go catch a snowy grouper down there, and if we didn't have him and numbers that we could piggyback off of, there's thousands of locations that look great and you could try, but here we tried 4 to 5 spots, and only 2 of them produced any
Wow.
fish whatsoever. So
Wow.
and it just depends on the day.
That's
So,
that's a really good tip, that it would be worth, like, even if you go down there, it'd be worth trying to contact a local captain to see if you could even, hire or charter them to come out on your boat with you. In fact, that's what I did early on for cobia fishing. I chartered Captain Austin Hain with Fineo. I chartered him to come on my boat and just tell me, hey man, tell me all the things I'm doing wrong, and it's such a great learning opportunity. And Mike, I'm curious, for you, having never fished for snowy grouper before, what was the learning curve in terms of like getting a bait presented and getting a hookup? What was that like?
So it was on the deep drop rigs, the electric reels, which was pretty new to me. I've done it one time with Owen, but never really any crazy success, just some rosy. But this time he told me, he said, hey, drop it all the way down until it touches the bottom, about 700 to 1,000 feet. And every time the boat comes down with a wake, I want you to see that weight hit the ground. And obviously you see the rod tip coming down, and all of a sudden it's abrupt stop. It slammed the bottom.
Right.
He said, I want you to open that spool every time you don't see that. So as the boat's
Huh.
drifting, we're getting deeper and deeper, that the line needs to go deeper. Almost every bump I was opening that spool and hitting bottom. And he said, keep bottom contact. And then as soon as I saw that, at 1,000 feet, it looks like a bluegill bite. Slam it in gear, pull it up. If it doesn't double over, then you probably don't have a grouper. Drop it back down. You got 4 baits. So just like sea bass fishing, when 4 baits, drop it back down, try to hook another one. I was like, that makes sense to me. I got pretty lucky. We were getting ready to switch spot, and I was probably 20 feet off the bottom, and he said, pull him up. I hit free spool. And I was like, let's try it. Dropped down to the bottom. As soon as it hit, I hit go to pull it back up, and the rod doubled over. I looked
Wait,
back.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Go back
Yeah.
a few seconds. So Captain Josh said, go ahead and pull him up, and you did the exact opposite.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like
Perfect.
that.
Okay. And that's when you caught your first snowy grouper.
That
Okay.
was the first snowy grouper. Yeah, it's about 5, 6 minutes later. That rod was still bowed up, and a big old snowy came out with a bulging stomach and big old eyes. I said,
That's
wow,
awesome.
it worked.
That's so cool. Was that like your highlight catch of the week, the snowy grouper, or were there other fish that you guys went after that sort of checked that bucket list for?
So that was the highlight of we wanted to see that fish. Just came in season. We have them, but we don't know how to catch them at home. We're working on
Yeah.
it. But we wanted to do that. And then after that, we had some success, and we said, hey, let's go drop for swordfish. So we had the reels. Owen brought the sacrificial weights. He prepped.
Yeah.
That you do not need, may I add. Yeah. Don't even worry about sacrificial weights.
Got it.
Yeah. Just that, once again, good to have a local captain with knowledge there. All I can say is, as a learning curve, bring as many weights as you can afford.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, at home you're dropping in the mud, and here is the exact opposite. It's rocky down there. That's why there's grouper fishing. It's rocky, hard, and there's a lot of snags. Josh kind of laughed at us when I had 5 and 6 pound weights to drop to the bottom. And at the time we lucked out, especially being right after a full moon.
Yeah.
There wasn't too much current, and not too much current down there means 2.5 knots. So,
Still moving.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was still moving. Up at home, you're normally dropping even for swordfish 5-6 pounds of lead. Down there, starting at 10 pounds of lead.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, definitely. I was dropping 10 pounds of lead just to try to catch the group. It's a lot of weight on the end of your rod tip. So, it's definitely an investment to do that, and you just kind of got to accept that you're going to
That's
lose
what you
some
got
of
to
those
do.
weights because there's
It's,
Mike lost a
yeah.
couple, I lost a couple. Yeah.
It's funny, Owen, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about, why is it that when you're dropping down a heavy weight on a rod, it feels so heavy on the rod, almost heavier than what a fish is that you're going to catch. But it just dawned on me that there's a big difference between a 10-pound lead weight pulling straight down versus a, say, 30-pound blackfin tuna that is suspended in the water column and fighting you. So you're not necessarily getting that same like dead weight straight up and down, which I don't know, sort of a tangent there, but I'm just realizing that that's why some of those weights feel so heavy going down. Even sea bass fishing sometimes feels so heavy going down, but then when you're fighting those fish up, the fish is lively, but you don't necessarily feel the same amount of weight because those fish are suspended and swimming and that sort of thing. Um, any major lessons learned if you guys were to go back and do this trip again? Mike, anything that you would do different in terms of prep or tackle or days that you would plan to fish?
I don't think so. I mean, I know that we had the offshore experience down there. I think we'd be a lot more comfortable going at it ourselves without a
Yeah,
captain. And I mean, but honestly, the most fun was back at the house for fishing. So, I mean, we talked about the offshore day, but the house we had was just paradise. So that was where the real fishing happened every single day
And night.
and night. Yeah, until about midnight every night. So we were on 86th Street in Marathon. So we're only about 5-6 miles from the 7 Mile Bridge.
okay.
So that was kind of our fishing in the boat. We'd run to the 7 Mile Bridge. We caught massive 10-inch mullet right behind the house in the canal. We'd float them back with everybody else, and the giant tarpon would roll on them. Uh,
Oh,
we tried it a
that's
couple
fun.
times. Yeah, Owen hooked up with some monsters, but we were kind of new to it, so we didn't have any luck landing them. Luckily, the canal that our boat was on, or that our house was on, it's probably 10 to 12 feet deep, man-made. It's loaded with mutton snappers up to 20 inches. Sorry, mangrove snappers up to 20
Okay.
inches.
Those are
And
great eating too.
you can see them. It's all sight fishing right under your bait table. There's manatees come up to eat your chum bags out back all day, every day. The tarpon are rolling all day, every day. The mullet are everywhere. Uh, we learned to catch the tarpon in the canal. You had to throw about a 9 or a 10 inch mullet under a striper bobber with a, about a size 2 hook that we would probably use for, I don't know, I'd use for bluegill. Uh,
Triggerfish, bluegill. Yeah.
yeah,
Real
I mean,
small.
right through the top of right behind the head and float them under a bobber. And they hit so aggressive in the dark that you hear the bobber go under. It's a loud pop. And you look and your line is just peeling off down the canal. And we landed one about a little guy, 25 inches, a few nights ago. Last night was kind of the killer. Owen landed one probably 3.5 feet. And then as soon as I threw my rod back out, we landed one probably 4 feet plus. And
Dude,
icing on the cake about 11:30 at night before we were driving all day tomorrow. So it was a great end.
that's sick. That's a that's like a cherry on the top, man. And I know from fishing with you that you're really methodical, especially when you got a large fish on. I just immediately got like a flashback thinking about you, finessing that tarpon through the canal. I immediately went back to 2023 Wallace's when we swept the whole board, first place in every category, and you fought that like whatever it was, 62-inch fish against the current on the upside current of the bridge. Oh no, spot burn. No, I'm kidding. But you fought that fish for like 25 minutes, finessing it to make sure that, it didn't break off. We were, super careful. What was your experience like with the tarpon? Like, did you feel like you had to really like finesse every single, movement, or was it going to break your line off, or was it a cooperative fish? Like, what was that experience like?
It was very quick. So the canal was only about 25 feet wide before you're
Okay.
staring at the bulkhead of the other house. And there just happened to be about a $500,000 center console pull in right beside us yesterday. They parked right across. So these tarpon, when they suck it down, we're in free spool. We got the drag set, obviously. We're in free spool and let it run for a minute because it's trying to swallow a 10-inch mullet. And they're
Right.
not monsters. They're not the 6-footers in the canals. They're max 4 foot. So we give them a second, but you're also kind of wondering how far away is the tarpon getting.
Right.
Close the spool, hold on. As soon as you come tight, launching out of the water and hoping he doesn't hit a boat. So luckily, yeah,
That's awesome.
luckily the closest boat we came to was ours. So we were okay with that. But it was crazy because everybody pulls their camera out, and I bet we had over 30 bites on
Wow.
tarpon just out back.
That's
We
sick.
landed. We hooked 3. So
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, it was a lot
Wow.
of screaming runs, and then a 10-inch mullet comes flying out of their mouth without a hook. So it was basically seeing how long you needed to let them run to get the hook in their mouth
Right.
versus not letting them get 100 yards down the canal where you're going to be tangled up in 8 center consoles.
Yeah, and I forget
So,
that you're in Florida, so you had to, leave all your J hooks here in Virginia and do everything with a circle hook, which is so much harder for some of these more explosive dynamic bites like a tarpon.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So you caught the illustrious target species, which was the snowy grouper. Before we sign off here, tell us, how did you prepare that snowy grouper and how good did it taste?
I'll let Owen take that one. He's kind of the fish chef here.
Yeah. I'm the lemon pepper guy. I cook sea bass, tilefish, golden or blue line. Yeah, you name it. And same with the grouper. A little bit of lemon pepper seasoning. Wrap it in tinfoil with butter and more lemon on top, and 425, 12 minutes, whether it's on the grill
Boom.
or in the oven. It all comes out the same. It's delicious.
That
So
sounds so good.
yeah.
That's awesome. And did you guys get into any of like the I know on snowy groupers you can get a little meat out of the cheek and the ribs and even some of the I guess near the collars. Did you get adventurous with your filleting or did you just stick to the two sides?
We stuck to the two sides. Definitely. Like Captain Josh. He was talking while we were on the boat. He caught about a 30-pound snowy on last Friday while we were driving down and sent me a picture of it. He was talking how he had grouper cheek sandwiches.
Grouper
It's definitely
grouper cheek
a good thing
sandwiches.
to have.
That sounds really
Grouper cheek
good.
sandwiches.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, I just wanted to kind of wrap up by doing a little I don't know, go down memory lane for a second. What would you say in all of our years of fishing together? What would you say is your favorite fishing experience that we've ever gotten to share?
Oh man,
I've
I
got
would
one in
say,
mind, but I'll let you go first.
man, I was thinking about how you taught me to catch trout in the cove back in the day
Oh
when it was
yeah,
on fire. I had no idea what a sliver was.
a slip bobber. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Fishing like 30 feet deep on bobbers, and that blew my mind. So it was awesome. It worked. What do you got?
No, that is a great memory. The party cove back there off of the Elizabeth River and slip bobber rigs is definitely something that I learned from a good old guy named Cliff who taught me the trick of how to tie those up. And it's ingenious now that you know what it is and how it works. But back then it was like, how in the world are you ever going to cast and have a 12 or a 15, 20-foot leader? It doesn't make sense. But if you have a slip bobber, it does.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I I
What do you
think
got?
I think my favorite memory when I think about you and me and got to give some love to Ryan and Jesse, Ryan Clark and Jesse Ewing. Shout out to Jesse Does It on YouTube. Anything that you want to see about working on cars, Jesse does it. But do you remember that time when I first got my 26-foot Mako? And we have a picture of somebody, I think it was you or Ryan, holding a phone or a GoPro out on a stick, but we blasted off to the eastern shore in my boat
and ended up catching a cobia. I think Ryan caught a cobia blind jigging off of a pole on our way back.
I remember that. I actually think we rolled over to the 80-foot trough off the eastern shore, and I think we set out 2 chum bags or
That's
something
right.
on the edge of it, and we threw out 4 or 5 eels and cut bunker and everything you could imagine because we had no idea how to sight fish for a cobia.
Yeah.
So, and Ryan did it. He ended up catching the fish. I don't even think it was legal, but we won. Like that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, I think he released it, and we just were like, oh, we actually caught a cobia, you know. But for me, that was like one of my favorite experiences where like we said we get the band back together, but it was just the 4 of us, and we didn't know what the heck we were doing. I think it was like 2015, and we
Oh
just
yeah.
sent it. And ever since then, it's just been neat to see how like each of our fishing journeys in different ways has matured and grown. Obviously life takes us our different ways, but I think we at this point have a group text message that has lasted since like 2009 or 10, somewhere in there. Sorry, 2012. So it's like 14 years old. I'm probably doing poor math here, but I think it's like a 14-year-old group text message. And one of these days, we're going to convince Ryan Clark to throw his Android in a river and get an iPhone so that we can get rid of the green text.
Yeah, I may have a couple more tips that might help anybody looking to go down to the Keys and fish. If even if you're not bringing a boat, if you just like to fish, marathon on those canals around 86th Street, catching those snapper right out back, snapper, grunt, pinfish, all day, every day. And Owen's wife, Jill, she is literally holding a rod straight out, waiting for it's a conventional. So she reeled it in. She asked me to cast it back out for her, and had a live pinfish, about a 5-inch pinfish on there. And I was reeling mine in. I was like, "Yeah, I'll help you in just a second." And so it's straight down. The rod's just straight out from her. She's just holding it, and all of a sudden she said, "Mike," and I look over, and the rod just starts catching probably about a 25-inch Goliath grouper
No
right off
way.
the back deck.
Oh, that's
Yep.
amazing. That's
It
amazing.
was great.
The one time
That's
I walk
awesome.
away,
Right. The
I
one
walked
time
away for 10 minutes.
that that's awesome. Well, I'm hearing the moral of the story is whether you have the boat or whether you just want to get down there, if you love to fish and you love the water, Marathon, Florida is a great place to go and spend some time together as a family and check a couple of unique species off the list and have a good time while you're doing it. So
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Great fishing, great food, family friendly everywhere you go. I mean, it's plenty to see down there, and it's just a great week to spend, whether you're
that's
driving
awesome.
or flying.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm sure you guys will post some pictures here soon. If folks want to follow you guys on social media, how do they find you on Facebook and or Instagram?
Yeah, it's just at O Nolenberg, which is a tough one to spell. So which starts with a K.
Got it. I'll drop them in the show notes. Mike, you've been fish ninja forever and a day.
Yep.
I think you inspired me with my fight fish. I think I used to be Luke wants two fish, Luke one two fish. We've
Oh yeah.
we've come a long way from
Oh
the
yeah.
early days.
I
But
coined the Fish Ninja 757 and the Fish Ninja license plate, which I've been asked for quite a few times.
oh yeah. So what is a fish ninja?
That's a good question, man. I'm kind of hoping it's me. Trying to ninja my way into this.
A fish ninja is someone who the fish never see coming until they're staring up at them from the cooler.
There we go. I love it.
There it is.
Like, how do you get off?
Well, hey man, I wish both you and Owen a safe rest of your journey. Thanks for taking some time to come hang out with our listeners and just share your story and your adventure and the lessons learned. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I think I'm gonna have to put marathon on my bucket list for a future vacation where I can wet a line and have some fun along the way.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you having us on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Mike, you always text me, so I know you're listening. So I was like, you know what? I got to get this man on the show someday. So here you are. This was your debut. Probably won't be the last time. Well, folks, that's going to wrap up a really cool segment talking with my good buddy, Captain Mike Manning and Captain Owen Nolenberg. Spelling still unknown. But guys, if you are thinking about a trip where you're going to, trailer your boat, this was a good opportunity to glean a bunch of tips about what to do to be prepared and go have some fun and drag along your wife and kids too. So y'all stick around for a quick word from some of our sponsors that make this great content free for you each and every week. And we'll be back with you real soon.
Pure Flat slick lures are tried, true, and guide approved. Slick lures catch big speckled trout, redfish, flounder, and more. You can cast them a mile, and they produce a highly erratic bait fish imitation with a twitching retrieve. The tournament winning slick has helped many anglers set personal best records. Whether you're fishing the OG slick, the smaller profile slick junior, or the versatile little slick, one is sure to find that unforgettable thump we're all after. Visit your local tackle retailer or pureflats.com for your favorite color and rigging combination. Go sling some slicks today. You can't catch them on the sofa.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults age 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco.
If you're 21 or older and use nicotine or tobacco, it's time you charge ahead to Black Buffalo, America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative. Black Buffalo dips just like the real thing, but without the tobacco leaf or stem. Get it now at Wawa, Circle K, Sheetz, Love's, Pilot, Racetrack, and many more that you can see on their store locator at blackbuffalo.com. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative is everything you love about dip, nothing you don't.
All right, guys, welcome to this segment. I'm excited because we get to talk to two captains at the same time. Captain Preston Euchel with Putting in Sport Fishing and Captain Eric Myers aboard Heads and Tails Charters. Welcome, guys. How are we doing today?
We're doing good, dodging raindrops and stuff out here.
I heard that. So last couple of days, well, all of last week was windy. I was cracking up at Captain Mike Hosang's post about what it feels like, to watch the weather here in Virginia Beach these days. We're all dying for just a couple of days strung together with some calm winds so we can get out there, which I think yesterday finally let a few folks out. But yeah, just curious what you guys have been up to. We'll start with you, Captain Eric. What you been seeing and catching lately?
Well, nothing much in the rivers right now. We're still recovering from that cold spell. There's a few fish, but not many. But the bay's been pretty alive with tog and like big blues and rockfish the last couple days, which has been really fun.
That is really fun, especially this time of year. You don't typically hear rockfish too often. At least I haven't in the last couple of years. What about you, Captain Preston? What you been seeing?
Well, I started a new job, so I don't really get to go out as much as I did, but I run afternoon trips now. Caught oversized slot redfish in the creeks, and then yesterday we ran out, went all the way down to the Carolina line, and
Wow.
happened to run into a sunfish. I thought it was a shark, and threw at it, and the sunfish ate the jig.
Wait a second. Are we talking like mola, like those big giant sunfish?
Oh yeah, good old mola mola.
The fish so
Okay, so
nice and named twice.
right, mola, like mahi mahi. So, okay, I've seen those I think I've seen them like once. I remember seeing it and thinking I was about to throw at the world's like record cobia, but how in the world did it eat the jig? Their mouths, aren't they like really small and funny shaped?
I took the jig out of its mouth, and that was about it. I didn't really do too much investigating on the mouth because I didn't
Wow.
know what it would do to me.
So it actually ate the jig. That's so bizarre. What roughly what size was it? Was it one of those
He was
giant
half.
ones?
He was half of my Carolina skiff, which is 21 foot.
Holy cow. So I'm curious, did you quote unquote fight him to the boat, or did you just kind of steer the boat towards him and reel up the slack?
We fought him until he dumped the whole spool of line, and then I chased him down, and then locked the drag down and brought him up to the boat. I'd say that it sounded pretty quick, but it took us about an hour and a half.
Wow. And then like how long before you realized what you actually had on the line?
I'd say probably 30 minutes into the fight, I realized once I saw it come up, and I don't know, it looked like it was flopped, sunbathed on top of the water. I said, okay, well, we're invested into it now.
That's awesome. Was this a charter or a fun trip?
A fun trip. Me and my roommate went out and probably ran 100 miles yesterday.
On how many gallons of gas on the skiff?
19 gallons.
That's impressive. Very
Technically
impressive.
24.
Yeah, 24, brought a 5 gallon gas tank and put the 5 gallons in under the Lesnar when I ran out of gas.
Hey, you know what? That's how every good adventure starts is running out of gas. Not really. That's what you don't want to have happen. But good thing you had
I
the
mean, if you
contingency
want the
plan.
stories from it, if you want the stories, you got to do the things.
That is a fact.
But
Man,
on
what
our way back from the Carolina line, we ran into a lot of sheep's head, like big wads of sheep's head.
were these the type that you see? And I remember a couple of years ago when they were thick, I'd be out cobia fishing, and you'd see them like on the surface just free swimming. Is that what you were seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
like speed fish.
It looked like bunker
Yeah.
balls, but when you'd roll up to it, it ended up being sheep's head.
Were they eating, or were they just in a weird like migratory sort of? Because what that's been my experience is that
I had a couple like voodoo shrimps tied on. They didn't want anything to do with anything we threw at them.
that was my experience too. I mean, Cap Merrick, you've seen those things before too. Like, what? Why aren't they interested in eating right now?
I mean, I have no clue. I think they're just getting ready to spawn and moving to the bay to spawn.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
some of those fish when they get into that migratory, like when they start swimming in the ocean, they just don't eat as much.
right.
They get real
It's
thin.
it's weird to think about a sheep's head as a migratory fish, but if you had to guess, where are they migrating from and where are they headed to?
I would assume from down off of Hatteras, where that water stays a little warmer and the wrecks are shallower.
Ah,
They probably move from there back into the bay in summer to spawn.
yeah. Well, that's fun. Hey, before we move forward, so what's got you two hanging out today? What are we working on?
Down here at Cap, scrubbing a boat, getting it
Oh,
cleaned and ready to go out.
nice. Anything new in the fleet for putting in, or is this just a little doing somebody a favor and cleaning their boat for them?
As of right now, we're adding a new boat to the fleet. I'm not buying it from him, but he's letting me run his boat.
Oh, cool. That'll be exciting. Well, definitely keep an eye out on the socials. I imagine in a couple of days you'll make an announcement of some sort with some expanded capabilities there for putting in.
That's the plan.
Awesome, man. Well, that's exciting to hear. I know you've been grinding and putting your time in the rivers, but I feel like everyone that starts fishing, you kind of get your start, whether it's in a kayak or from the shore, and then there's just this like natural progression where you want to keep going and keep going further and further, bigger and bigger. So it's exciting to see that start to happen for you, unless of course you're Captain Merrick Myers and then you have like a boat for every day of the week, to match
Yeah.
your outfit.
Now they're all wrapped and they're in sync and
Yeah, I mean, it took. I mean, I've only been in business, 12 years, so
Yeah, take some time.
it
um
took a little bit of time. That 22-foot skiff that we have, I mean, that thing's got 12,000 hours on it for a reason.
that is so crazy to think that Suzuki has put up with that much time and just continues to turn over every single time you turn that key.
I used it last night, and I literally told myself, if this thing blows up tonight, it wouldn't owe me a dime. I wouldn't even be mad.
No, no, not at all. You're very much on borrowed time, as they say with that thing. Um, what else is new with the heads and tails fleet?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we're getting the contender finished up, getting ready to go back in the water. Pretty pretty happy with that. We're getting a repower for this season. Um,
Hey, hold on a second. That's a big deal. So
yeah.
what are we repowering?
you
The
like how he
Suzuki's?
just you like how he just, oh yeah, we're just gonna repower
I
it.
mean, it's gonna look
Yeah.
exactly the same, so no one's gonna really know, other than the fact
Okay.
it'll be black.
Oh,
Getting black motors on it.
that'll look sharp back there. I actually kind of like. I'm picturing the contender with the black motors instead of the white. I think that'll be a nice look back there. Plus, of course, how many hours did you put on those things before you repowered?
So our hour gauge was way off. Apparently, it wasn't recording from like the numbers that were already on the motor, and then I
Ah,
guess it wasn't recording to begin with. So
ah,
what we thought we had was like 3,500. We actually had like 9,000,
my goodness. Holy cow. Oh
and
man.
we didn't really know that until like the other week. I mean, like the 100-hour service light work, I knew that.
Yeah, just not the
But
the total counter. And I mean, for anybody listening that's maybe in the market for a used boat or thinking about repowering or even just starting to like run their calculations on, you know, their return on value and how long they need to start saving and be ready for a repower. You guys and these boats that you put in the water every single day, it's a testimony to they like to be run. And when they are getting run consistently, they will run a long, long time with regular service.
yeah, I mean,
A sitting motor's a bad motor.
yeah, if you see a motor that's 5, 6 years old with 100 hours on it,
Red flag.
I personally wouldn't even really look at it.
Yeah.
The motors I got when I redid the boat originally, those white Suzuki's I got, I think they had 600 hours, and the guy was talking about them like they were 1,000 or 10,000 hour motors.
Yeah.
I mean, he straight up said, "Oh man, I kind of feel bad for doing this to you, but at the time I was like $7,500 for two motors. I will do that all day long."
600
Oh
hours on
yeah.
it.
Yeah, six. They only had
That's just getting broke in.
they had
Right.
probably right at 600,
Right.
and
No,
I
that's
added
that's
a couple thousand more hours to it.
yeah, they like to be run. I've got I think my 150s are 2018s and they've got 2,200 hours on them. But again, I'm just a recreational guy, so those are big numbers for a recreational guy, but for a charter that would be something you guys could do probably in 2 years. So
Yeah, I mean that's a summer.
I think my
1,000.
Yamaha's got 1,000 hours on it as of yesterday,
Okay. Yeah. So
2023.
so roughly about 1,000 hours a season, would you
Yeah,
would you say?
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least.
Depends on what type of fishing you do. Some of those offshore only charters are going to be much less because they're weather windows and this, that, and the other. But you guys that are in the creeks in the bay every single day, you're out there as long as it's not thunderstorming.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not much that really keeps us at the dock. I mean, that's the one nice thing about me and Preston. I mean, if it blows in the bay, we
You
just
go
switch
inside.
boats and go in the river, have a fun
Right.
time.
Yep, for
Not that we're
sure.
going to catch anything in the river, but we'll try.
Yeah,
Well, I'm curious about that. So it has been a little bit tough lately. The water is super clear in the Lynnhaven right now, like very, very clean, clear water. Um, does that impact? You mentioned some redfish, and I know that we just had the tight lines for Tiny Tots redfish tournament. What were the conditions like? And are the redfish? You mentioned a couple overslot redfish. What's been going on redfish wise in the Lynnhaven?
I think we're just starting to get our first push of actual fish up the coast from
Okay.
down south that are coming into the river. And I mean, typically those fish are anywhere from 29 to 33 inches.
And
So,
I haven't looked at redfish in a while, but what is the current size and bag limit for redfish?
Say 18 to 26.
yeah, 18 to
Yeah.
26, three per person.
I love how you guys. So it's funny. You're not the only ones. Whenever I ask what the slot is, it's like I know when you guys are out there and you're fishing, like it's like probably just clicks in like muscle memory and you know it. But it's like whenever you're like put on the spot to answer the question, it's always like, oh no, like it's what
Yeah,
is
we
it?
don't want to
Okay.
sound silly or nothing, but
There's a ruler that's got tapes on it and it's got number like the
Yeah,
size
yeah,
limits and slots for them.
yeah,
yeah. So 18 to 26. So like earlier when you mentioned over slot, so you were catching the 28 plus. And Eric, you and I've had the pleasure of doing that together. I should say I've had the pleasure of going on your boat and catching those big redfish in shallow water. That is to me some of the most fun, like relaxing fishing that you can do. Do we expect to see that sort of kick off here in the next couple of weeks?
I would assume as soon as we start seeing the the bunker in the river get a little bigger. I mean, currently they're probably 2.5 inches, maybe an inch and a half.
Yeah.
But I mean, as soon as they get a little bit bigger, that's typically when you start seeing the fish come in and start stacking up like they normally do.
Yeah.
But I don't have super high hopes for this year being like years past where, we're fishing and, a slow day's what, 18, 13 fish. And then a fantastic day, I mean,
30 plus.
you're talking 30, 40, 50 fish.
Wow. And I
Um,
know last year we did a couple of recordings and we talked about how to like sort of pay attention to when the tides are changing and if you're fishing deep versus fishing on the structure and all that. So like as we get into the next couple of weeks, if I want to target redfish in the river, should I be naturally looking for deeper water or naturally looking for some shallower water?
would I would say this time of year, deep water close to the inlet.
Okay.
I mean, all those fish are going to be coming through that little cut in the bridge. So, I mean, anybody fishing from shore has a great shot. Everyone fishing, the easier docks like that Long Creek, the tennis courts,
We're
stuff
gonna
like that.
have the creeks loaded up at the mouth after this segment.
No, we won't. Most people won't give it the time of the day, or they'll fish the wrong tide. A lot of
and,
these
and
fish, I mean, you could fish the same dock 20 days in a row, and one day it'll pop off.
yeah, it'll just
I,
be good
I,
because they kind of migrate like a biomass.
yeah,
And
so
Preston,
they'll only
when
be on one dock for a couple days,
and then they
if that.
move. Right. Preston, when you're fishing for redfish, what's your sort of go-to setup and bait of choice?
I like drop shotting with a mullet on it, like a finger mullet. If you can
Yeah.
find them right now, that's usually, or a cut crab.
Yeah, cut crab right now is really good because
Okay.
the
I
small
know.
fish on in there is thick.
Yeah.
There's
Long
some
Bay Point.
flounder floating around too.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah,
Floating around, or are they typically on the bottom?
I mean they're on the bottom, but they're
They're
around.
down, they're down there doing flounder things.
Yeah. And then, you mentioned drop shot. Remind us, what's a drop shot rig typically tied up like?
You got the weight at the bottom, about 4 or 5 inches up from the weight. You got like a hook off of it.
Okay. So you tie like
Uh,
a loop knot and then put your hook in it,
Yeah, I
almost like
like
in
putting a
a,
rubber band at the bottom because when you're fishing rocks and stuff, if the weight gets caught up on it, you snap the rubber band, tie a new rubber band with the
oh,
so that way you
got
ain't
it.
got to tie more
That, that makes
weights
sense.
and
Yeah.
mounts. And
I just don't get snagged.
yeah, well, we can't all be like you.
There's the camaraderie. I was waiting for it to come out at some point. The loving competition between two charter guides. I do want to
Oh,
kind of just pause it for a second and say, like, I do very much appreciate like you guys, Captain Bill, Captain Zach Castro, Captain Kenny, Captain CL. Um, uh, Captain Josh Bourne. I mean, there's just so many great captains, and it's cool when you talk to all of them just to learn about how well you guys all communicate and work together, and the sort of respect there is amongst the community. It's sad when you see, other behaviors. I'm not going to name anybody, but uh,
Oh,
you guys are a great example of what the fishing community is all about. It's a gentleman's sport that's designed for families and folks that are wanting to go out there and make memories. It's not about ego or chest beating or any of that stuff. I think as some folks get a little older and maybe get a little wiser, they'll start to learn and understand that that's what it's all about. Captain Mike Roby as well. He's just one of those gems that you love seeing around. So I'll get off
yeah.
my soapbox. Get off my soapbox, but
I,
I'm the
I will
youngest
I
in the
will
fleet.
I will say one thing that I'll never forget. I had another charter guy talk to me, and I've also heard it from one of my buddies. But the charter guy up north, he was like, "Man, I just look at him and go, wow, congrats, you're just a little bit better than somebody else at their hobby."
right.
And that's kind of stuck with me. I'm like, I mean, yeah, the word professional gets thrown around a lot, but we just try really hard.
Yeah, it's I've been around a lot of different folks through the years, professionally and personally. And when you think about the people that you want to be around, it's the people who are kind and the people who are looking for ways to elevate other people around them. And I think that kind of goes with what you're saying. It's like don't get caught up thinking that just because you caught more fish one day that makes you Superman or better than the next guy, because that's at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. It's about making memories with your buddies, having fun, laughing. Life is short. There's a lot of crap that goes on in the world. And any day that you're able to be out on a boat with your buddies fishing, you have so much to be grateful for in that moment.
Turn your dock into more than just a place to park your boat with Slipski's Dorado Oasis cover. Engineered for both beauty and protection, the Dorado Oasis transforms your dock into a shaded, all-weather living space, perfect for relaxing by the water or entertaining friends. Built from marine-grade aluminum and premium fabric, it also provides year-round protection from sun, rain, and debris. Whether you're lounging dockside or keeping your boat covered and ready to go, Slipski delivers comfort, convenience, and peace of mind. Slipski, think outside the boathouse. Visit slipski.com.
My
That's right.
thing is be friends with everyone because one day you'll need them or something. You're broke
Yep.
down offshore and
Yeah,
you get a phone
in
call.
this fine sport we have, I mean, it's not a question of if you're going to break down, it's just when.
Yeah.
And like when I broke down this past year bluefin fishing, it was not a day you wanted to break down. It was 3, 4 foot seas, and I was able to call one of my buddies that turned into pretty much everybody out there checking in on me, which was pretty nice. And
Yeah.
granted, I felt real dumb doing it because I mean it was just a fuse. I should have had another fuse, but I didn't know there was that fuse back there.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Brandon
Spare
Baldwin
one?
was able to drop us off a fuse 35 miles offshore. And I mean, we were able to make it back to the dock, and now I have 30 of those fuses. So
I was gonna say every time I have done something dumb on my boat or had something fail, it goes into my contingency planning repertoire. I think more recently last year was learning to what'd you say?
Preston's over here with a repertoire is a big word.
Give me the
No,
definition of that.
Yeah.
repertoire. It means a variety of, things, multiple of any one thing, or different versions of one thing. Like, for example, Captain Eric has a repertoire of different boats in his fleet. But anyways, my more recent lesson learned was the live well pump is such a key thing to have, and taking the time when you have some time to go in there and cut your wires to your live well pump and put on the IP66 or IP67 rated connector
Quick connect.
plug. Yep. And then get
Yeah.
yourself two extra live well pumps and put the male or female, whichever side you need, of the connectors on those ready to go. So when that day comes when it inevitably fails, you just pop that thing off, unplug, replug, and you're back in business in a matter of 30 seconds.
That's
Um,
probably the funnest thing that I learned from you. I do that on both of my boats now.
yep.
Both, well, all three skips actually.
Yep. It's crazy how simple of a thing it is, but it is so much easier than like, and I've even been in before that, I'd have the extra live well pump on there, but it's like, am I
Yeah, you
really
just
gonna
wire nut it together.
yeah, am I gonna really fuss with wire nuts or heat shrink butt connectors in the middle of the bay? It's such a pain in the butt. So even I went even further because I was tired of, my two little pie plates in the back made bilge access so tough. So I even cut a bigger access hatch back there just so that and I'm ranting here, but the whole point is like I like to catch cobia. And when you've worked so hard to get a live well full of good baits and then your live well dies, there's nothing more show stopping than that.
There's no worse feeling in the world than looking down and seeing the little water not pumping the live well.
I know you're like, oh no. But at any rate, so let's go back to we've kind of gone through the redfish. We should hopefully see those pop up here soon. You mentioned striper. I mean, that's a really fun species to target. Obviously, striper, just like bluefin tuna, just like well, really any fish, but especially these federally rated ones, regulated ones. You want to go check your regulations because they change dynamically throughout the year. They've got a whole repertoire of rules, as Preston would say. What are the current regulations for striper?
Honestly, I have no idea. I fished yesterday I was going for bluefish, throwing big plugs over there by the bridge tunnel, and I actually found a bunch of rockfish, which was really cool.
Can we keep them right?
Don't know.
Let's see. Let's
I'd
see
let
what
them go.
let's see what the season is right now for 2026. So I think it calls for a there's like a fall, spring migratory season, which is March through June, which is what we're in now, and then there's a fall. Uh, the current regulations, I believe, are going to be
It's like a 4 inch
one.
slot for 'em.
Yep, one. You're correct. 19 to 24 inches in the Chesapeake Bay, one fish per person daily. Um,
Well, good luck,
and
because
I'm,
there's not a single one that size out there.
yeah, and it's funny that you say that
We're
because,
throwing we're throwing stuff like that.
well, that is a super. What is that? A super.
It's a giant spook, basically, but it's you know
Wow. So
10 and a
what
half
we're looking
inches.
at is like a 7, 8 inch, basically like a giant head and spook, almost like a huge top water plug.
Yeah,
Um,
super spook.
Looks expensive.
it
Yeah,
looks
very
very
expensive.
expensive. What is that
But
thing supposed to replicate? What is that supposed to look like in the water?
a piece of plastic on the surface that darts back and forth. It's like a
Well, what
laser pointer for cats.
what type of fish is it supposed to look like? A small menhaden or maybe a
I would say
small?
a full-size menhaden, knowing what we have in the bay nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. So were they just exploding on it like you'd see a bass hit a topwater plug almost?
I had a couple of like mid-30s bluefish jump completely out of the water on it,
That's fun.
which
Those big chopper
which is
blues
what
are a
which
blast.
is what I started catching. And then the stripers started biting, and I was like, all right, well, this is now my personality for the next, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Preston, when's the last time you caught a rockfish?
Uh, June of last year, July.
Gee, oh wow, so a minute ago.
I don't really target them.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a tough thing to target because they aren't necessarily all in one spot all the time, and then of course the bag limit is very limited. But I was gonna comment about that. Do you guys ever find it interesting that certain migratory species, like I've thought about this with the bluefin tuna as well as the striper, it's like the regulations seem to almost become more restrictive right about the time that they would be more plentiful in the larger sizes.
yeah.
I think we should have a drum season, to be honest with you. But that's just me.
For Are you talking about like the large
Turkey
drum?
drum.
No, like puppy drum. I think there should be a season on those.
Yeah, because I mean,
Like flounder, what they do in Carolina. I think we should have one of those.
in the
Oh, to
winter
help.
time when the redfish get real easy to catch because they eat everything you put in front of them,
Yeah,
I feel like that would probably be a good thing to have.
Yeah, from
just
like
to help
November,
protect them.
February.
I mean, honestly, it really wouldn't matter anyways after this year. I mean, all those fish died, so
I know that freeze that it just hurts your fishing soul to see that. And there's nothing we can do about it, obviously, because we can't, only
no.
God controls the weather. Um,
I mean,
but
when you roll into a couple coves that there's been a pot of fish in, and you go in there and you literally have to download one of those tally apps, and then you go in and specifically count each one of the dead redfish that are on the bottom, and you get to about 138, and you just like, there was more
uh,
in there that were dead.
that hurts. I, I found this funny yesterday. I was, doing Mother's Day activities and which included taking the dog and going and doing a little boat ride. And I'm looking up at the sun and it's just bright and the sky is blue and the winds are calming out of the south. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, it would be Mother Nature's, sick, twisted sense of humor for the one day that most fishermen cannot go fishing out of the last 10 days to provide a perfect weather day for fishing on
Yeah,
Mother's Day.
you just gotta get the right mom. That's all.
Right. Yeah. One that wants to go fishing for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so it's what, early May. And when do you guys think we're going to see our first cobia caught here in Virginia?
2 weeks. Well, rumor has it there's a picture floating around with a cobia on the dock in Rudy. That was like a 27-incher, if you saw that. I don't know how much AI was played into that. Maybe it wasn't good on the dude, but
I mean, there was already a yellowfin in Rudy, so might as well.
yeah.
Right. What else? What else can happen in Rudy? That yellowfin in Rudy is probably one of the wildest things that I've seen in a long, long time. I would really,
Whatever
if
you do,
any,
you need to get a hold of that guy. We gotta listen to that guy.
I
Yeah.
tried.
How do we
I
get
reached
him on?
out to him.
Yeah.
I reached out to him on Facebook, the guy that posted it. If anybody is listening to this and knows the actual story, whether it was how the thing got there or how it was caught, definitely reach out. Email me at lukebarton@greatdaysoutdoors.com. I'd love to interview you. It's such a wild thing to see. I mean, the video that circulated, it looked like that fish was swimming around, near a green light, which makes sense that it would be attracted to it. But I'd love to know how it was caught in a john boat, what tackle or what was used. Like it's kind of mind boggling.
Yeah.
That would be a story I tell, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, sure, Preston, you did that." No, it really happened.
That's what they call a fish tail.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
in a world full of AI videos,
No doubt
that
about
was
it.
a
That's
strong AI until I saw the video. Then it's swimming in the green light.
Yeah. I mean, it is, from what I know, it is confirmed. It was caught in Rudy Inlet, 1000%. It's just, I'd want to know how. So at any rate, looking forward, you guys obviously are both running cobia trips. You both run redfish trips. The sheep's head.
If it's got gills, we'll try to catch it.
Yep.
I like it. I like it.
We're equal opportunists.
Yep, for sure. Well, as we wrap up, Preston, why don't you go first and tell folks a little bit about your boat and what you guys are going to be doing over the next couple of weeks and how folks can reach out to you to book a trip.
So we run an inshore boat, 21-foot Carolina skiff. If it's nice out, we'll take it out to the bay. But the new boat, it's 31 foot, and I don't see many days on this boat where I won't be able to go fish. So if you want to get in
Nice.
contact with me, my phone number is 336-624-5294. Please, when you call me, if I send you the voicemail, because there's so many spam calls going around now, just shoot me a text.
Perfect.
Find me on Instagram or Facebook.
And what's that Instagram handle?
Oh boy. PU putting in sports fishing. That's the Instagram, I think. Yeah, that's it.
That is. I'll drop it in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
And then, Cap Merrick, what about you, man? What do you guys have in the fleet, and how do folks get in touch with you to book a trip?
We're gonna be here for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so I'll keep it sweet. But we got 4 boats in our fleet. We got anywhere from a 22-foot bay boat to 27-foot skiffs, and then a 31 contender. We're very open to fishing whatever we could possibly get to keep you like the charters in line and on time with their dates. That way we don't have any blow days or anything.
Versatile.
Yeah, we're versatile over here. We can accommodate, groups up to like 16 between the 3 boats, which is
Nice.
nice. We're still only a 6-pack charter. Gotta love that.
Yep.
Other than that, you can get in touch with me for pretty much anything that swims in the Northeast up here or mid-Atlantic, through either my phone number, which is 757-573-9569, or Facebook or Instagram. And then I have a booking site as well, Valley Pro. So feel free to reach out to me on any of those platforms.
Sounds like a plan, Captain. Well, guys, it's been fun catching up, and I appreciate y'all taking a break from cleaning. I know that's probably was a welcome break. Cleaning a boat is backbreaking. I don't care who you are, how strong you are. Working on a boat or cleaning a boat will is a special kind of suck that you will feel the next day, regardless.
Preston, he's calling you strong.
I'd like sometime.
Yeah, once we get into like our middle age, like we try to strategically keep a couple of like young, strong guys that are like, your fishing buddies. So like when you're like, hey, yeah, I need you to kind of crawl down to that bilge there and connect those wires.
Yeah,
That's what.
remember that live well pump I needed help with? Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not
exactly.
famous for
Actually,
those. The people are called mates.
yeah, mates or
Your mate
one.
doesn't talk back. Mine will.
Yeah, my mate's pretty good.
I was gonna say one Austin McDonald is who I call whenever I need something that takes a lot of muscle and a lot of tools. That guy has a trick for everything. Shout out to Austin, because recently I was doing a lower unit on a F350 Yamaha, and the bolt to the shift shaft seal plate cover broke, and I was like, oh no. And I was sweating bullets for a couple of reasons because, one, I couldn't put the thing back together until I fixed that. Two, the thing had to get put back together because Connor Caps needed to move us out in the next couple of days because we'd been on the hill already for a while. So I'm like, what do I do? And sure enough, Austin pulls up and, oh, no sweat, guys, and puts a pair of vice grips on that thing, heats it up, and probably put 1,000 foot-pounds of torque into it with his shoulders, and bang, got that thing out. I was like, I would have been here all week fighting that thing. But at any rate, well, guys, it's been fun. Thanks for hopping on the show, and wish you guys good luck as you continue cleaning that boat this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I'm going to continue
Absolutely.
to watch Preston clean it.
Hey, being in construction, I can tell you that having a good QC guy around the job site is very important. So you're doing honest work there, Cap Merrick.
Yes, sir.
All right, Preston, you be good, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, yep.
All right, buddy.
All right. All right, guys. Well, folks, that's going to wrap up a fun segment. Get to talk to 2 captains at the same time. Always a treat. Stick around for a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll look forward to chatting with you guys real soon.
The days of heading out and blindly looking for good fishing areas are pretty much over. Don't waste time and money on fuel searching for fish. What you need are the most recent, highest resolution images to not only know where to go, but where not to go. The knowledge provided by today's technology is critical when planning an offshore fishing trip. So make the choice that captains all up and down the East Coast make and choose Hilton's Real-Time Navigator. The easy-to-use interface and excellent customer service will have you on the fish every time you go. Check them out at hiltonsoffshore.com. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up this week. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, to get your free AFCO Camo Sunglasses Cleaner Cloth, text the acronym LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get your promo code and be added to our email list so we can send you the new show each week. You guys keep on whacking them and be safe out there.